This week, I had the opportunity to play a bunch of games that came from Essen. Leader Games had some people over. They invited a couple other friends to be able to check out their halls, one of which was this game called Treasure Island, which for me kind of came out of nowhere. Have you heard of Treasure Island before? This is what I'm talking about?
I have. I think a year ago, some podcast was starting to talk about it, and it was very intriguing, but they said it was going to come out in a year.
Sure.
And it sounds like that year has passed.
That year has passed because Treasure Island is out, at least in Europe. It was, I think, an Essen release, and I do hope this will be coming to America. But let me first talk to you about the little descriptions about it. Treasure Island designer is Mark Pacien.
Yep.
Artist is Vincent Dutroux, with the publisher being Matagot. So, Treasure Island is a game that involves pirates searching for treasure. Simple enough. This game is a 1v all game because one person plays as Long John Silver, the pirate who hides treasure somewhere on this map, and all the other players have to find it. What's really, really neat about this game is that I think it does 1v all differently than a lot of other 1v all games, in that there's a lot more interaction in this game as Long John Silver than I would have expected. So how the game works is that each other pirate hunter is a pirate from, the days of pirating. And they all have like a very unique ability, a very small, unique ability. So there is some asymmetry. And then again, one person plays as Long John Silver, who has like a miniature version of this map that you place a little tiny X somewhere in this map. And it's small. If you see the version of this map, there are huts, there are ships, there are rocks. There's just a lot of places that putting this X on your tiny map can actually feel like, oh, I'm being really sneaky with where I'm putting it. How you would not think anyone would be able to find this treasure. But alas, there are a lot of tools that the pirates can use in order to find this treasure. So what happens is this game plays over a series of 19 rounds. And in these 19 rounds, what ends up happening is that players start their turn by choosing one of three different actions. You can large search, which is basically taking a circle template, putting it around your miniature, and then tracing a circle around it, kind of denoting that this is where you're searching. There's another action where you can move up to 3 inches and small search. So you can move in a straight line, do a small search with a very similar template. And then you can also do a horse maneuver or a gallop, in which you can just kind of bolt and be able to do 6 inches, which is quite a length of ways in the map.
Yeah, it's average.
Yeah. Much like a regular horse, a
Right.
horse will go up to 6 inches, stop, and then you have to tell the horse to do another action to go another 6 inches.
Do you have to make horse sounds, I'm assuming?
I mean, you could house rule it. There's no,
Okay.
Yeah, you could house rule it.
House rule it.
Same thing about how everybody has to be in RPG as a pirate.
Yes, obviously, yes.
Yeah. So anyways, so again, everyone kind of has a mini map, and also, every single pirate hunter is working with each other, but also against each other, because each pirate kind of will end up be given clues in terms of where the actual treasure is, and they have to be sneaky to not kind of give it away to anybody else, but everyone can kind of deduce where they're going, and through their clue, maybe decide whether it's in that specific area that they also want to search. So, as the game goes throughout each turn, each day is passing by, and Long John Silver ends up giving clues to every single pirate hunter. So there's kind of beginner clues, and then there are black clues that kind of get a little bit more dicey, a little bit harder to decipher. And then once every clue is played, there is going to be a red stamp that goes beneath it to denote whether Long John Silver was telling the truth or whether Long John Silver was potentially telling a lie, which is really cool. So, for instance, one of the clues is that choose a miniature, and that miniature has to be more than 6 inches or 6 miles in this game away from the treasure. And they have this really super neat protractor that comes with the game. You hook up a marker pen to it, and you trace in a circle using this protractor, denoting that from this miniature, it is not within these 6 miles. And then you place whether or not you are telling the truth or you are potentially not telling the truth. And then the game will kind of go on, and during different days, there are going to be specific things that the pirate will, or that Long John Silver will get, and a number of stars that denotes how many actions each specific pirate will get each day. And what's really cool, again, is that Long John Silver ends up in a tower. Like, he gets held captive and gets put into a tower. And on the 19th day, he escapes and then makes a beeline for his treasure. And if he gets there, he wins the game. Otherwise, if a player is able to, within the circle or touching the line of the circle, find the treasure, that specific pirate wins the game.
That's amazing.
So now,
is there some historical significance to 19 days?
No.
That just seems like a really random round.
Good question.
Number of rounds.
I don't know. Okay. Maybe, but I don't know. So you might be thinking like, okay, so you have like large searches and small searches. Like, if you don't find anything, that seems kind of silly, right? Well, in this game, it's not, because what ends up happening is that there's actually this really cutesy-wootsy treasure chest that actually is built to kind of open up like a treasure chest. And what you can do is you can put little treasures into that treasure chest and be able to give a small glimmer of chance to that pirate, thinking that they actually found the game-winning treasure piece, because the game ends by putting the real treasure into the treasure box and giving it to that player, and they open it up and like, I found the treasure, and the game ends.
That's cute.
And that specific treasure then gives them a specific clue as to where the treasure is from their location that they don't have to share with the other pirate hunters. Because
that sounds genius.
Yeah, so like for instance, like what ends up happening is if you get this treasure, it may say the treasure is to your right. And so that's like something that they know that has to be true by Long John Silver when they play that specific token. There are also special abilities by each treasure hunter, such as you can get compasses, and compasses will kind of direct you in a direction that's one is true and one is false to kind of help you denote where exactly that treasure is. So there's like specific sections. You can also get like province tiles or section tiles that will tell you where the treasure is not. So like at the beginning of the game, like the board is kind of set up with a bunch of lines kind of denoting like, okay, this is a section, this is a section, this is a section, et cetera, et cetera. And when they place their treasure, they have to take out that tile so that there are 11 others in the stack, which is supposed to also help in terms of kind of deducing where exactly, this treasure is. And yeah, there are some like one-time use things. So each specific pirate hunter will also have unique abilities that you cross off that once you do them, you can't do them again. All in all, like this is like Fury of Dracula as a gateway game, I think.
Yeah.
Like that's
amazing.
That's the comparison I got into this game, is that it's like Fury of Dracula, where Dracula is a piece of treasure and it's extremely simple for what you need to do. Is that you take a ruler, you just make your move, and so this map ends up becoming like a real life treasure map where everyone kind of has these dotted lines and all these circles, and being able to kind of be like, okay, where is this treasure at, to the point where you do eventually kind of find the pinnacle or the center of where it is, and then the game ends. I think it's going to be really hard for Long John Silver to win unless you are a really good Long John Silver in terms of throwing people off and some luck. But man, like I played this twice as Long John Silver and as a pirate, and I must say playing as Long John Silver is the absolute best.
It sounds incredible. Oh my gosh, this sounds so good.
It's so fun. Like one of the best things that I really liked is a black clue card that each pirate could ask you any question, and then you can choose one of those people. So all three ask their question to you, and then you can choose one and answer yes or no to it. And what's hilarious about it is that it doesn't even have to be related to the game with how the card is worded. So it's like,
that's really great.
So it's like, you should be like, if you really want to know somebody, or if you really want to like be like, hey, do you really like me as a person? And then be like, they don't have to choose you, but that would be hilarious.
So good.
And
okay, so what's average playtime for this?
I would say probably an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
hour. I think maybe even less, I think. Depending on if to start teaching it and stuff, and there's a little bit of setup stuff. Your first game will probably take an hour and a half, because never ever listen or look at the count on a box and think it's real.
Yeah.
It's just silly. Yeah. But I would really think that, let's see, we played, 3 pirates and me as Long John Silver, and then it probably took like an hour. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it went a little bit quicker the next time.
I think this game is coming over to the States, right?
It should. It should.
I think it'll be big enough.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. Some, like, the weird, like, the markers aren't that great of quality.
Mm-hmm.
And for people that are colorblind, it might be a problem.
So that's funny you say that, because I actually bought dry erase markers specifically for a few board games.
Sure.
Such as, what's the submarine one?
Yeah, Captain Sonar.
Captain Sonar.
Yeah.
And not great markers, and so I bought some for that.
Yep.
And then Escape from the Aliens in Outer Space.
Oh, sure.
Terrible markers.
Yeah.
But these markers help with that as well. So if I can just use them for this too, then that's great.
So they have to be small enough to fit on the protractor.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, so you might have to get some very specific markers.
Yeah.
But if you're just drawing straight lines, or if you're just using it to circle things, like, you'll be fine.
Okay.
But for the protractor, it might be somewhat of an issue.
Yeah, that's true.
You have to kind of hold it awkwardly in order to, get some help from around the table. But in all, Treasure Island, what a fun, just a neat little game that makes you really feel like you're kind of creating a treasure. You're a treasure hunter creating this treasure map in front of you. Like, I like it. I like it a lot. Check it out.
That's cool.
Treasure Island by Matagot Games.